What's happening out there, PricePlow Nation, and everyone out there who can't get some sleep tonight and you're sick of watching infomercials? Welcome to PricePlow.
Welcome to PricePlow.
My name is Mike Roberto, and I'm the founder, and we are a tech and media company where we talk about the dietary supplement industry's news and reviews and get into different diet research and ingredients. And that's what we're going to do today because we got a well-dosed one for you, and that's SteelFit's Steel Dream supplement. So before we go any further, I gotta let you know this. This is not a review, and I have a good reason. This is not a review. This is a sponsored ingredient explainer. We're gonna talk about the formula here. The really long and short of it all is that this is the type of sleep supplement, when I'm using them, this is the type of sleep supplement that I like because it has 3 different vectors hitting all the different bases, and many of these different sleep supplements out there don't do this. First off, we have a lot of the herbal support, such as valerian and chamomile, and a lot of those relaxing herbs that are full spectrum that we oftentimes make teas out of, and you can ingest them as well as a supplement, and they are great as sleep aids. But second off, and this is where the dietary supplement industry in the sports nutrition world kind of takes off a little bit more, is that we have what I call like the chemical compound single ingredient compound ingredients, such as L-theanine and 5-HTP, for instance. And these are more like single ingredient, single molecule style ingredients that we don't get in some of the more like earthy flu kind of brands, but we have a lot of benefits from just taking these single ingredients. So I'd like to have the merge of these worlds, but there's a third world that we also have if we have enough room in the supplement, and we have that here as well, and that's mineral support. A very important mineral to get for everyone really, but especially when it comes to sleep problems and anxiety, is magnesium. And we do have some magnesium here as well. So this means that we have what I consider a very full spectrum sleep supplement that has a ton of ingredients. This video is probably going to end up long. A lot of our videos have been long lately because we're covering some really well-dosed supplements. But on that note, we do have a ton of ingredients here. Not every single one of them is efficaciously like clinically dosed, but they're all like very close to that. And so that's what I like, is like this is a full panel kind of kitchen sink sleep supplement. If what you've tried in the past hasn't worked and you've gone through all the different sleep hygiene tricks and all that and nothing's working, then you should check this one out, especially because we got a new ingredient to cover, and it's called Venetron. So we'll get to that. It's at the bottom of the label though. Now the reason, and I told SteelFit this, I have been using the SteelFit shredded steel fat burner supplement in the mornings, high dose yohimbine, not too much caffeine, still loving it. Like basically any day where I'm not testing a pre-workout in the morning, kind of using that stuff right now. Anyway, so while I am using that, I told them, listen, this supplement sounds awesome. We want to blog about it. We do have a blog post where everything we talk about is cited. We have graphs and all that cool stuff. But I told SteelFit, listen, the honest truth is I'm not going to be taking this supplement because first off, I'm not having any sleep problems lately. I work hard, I've been training hard, I've been eating well and doing well, and I'm not having much sleep problems. But second, more importantly, I'm down to test this anytime, except for the fact that we still have a 1-year-old baby here at home, and sometimes we still have to wake up in the middle of the night and go make the rescue, and usually it's me who's running up the stairs, and I don't want to be half on my ass falling down the stairs because I took too powerful of a sleep supplement. And this stuff looks so well dosed that I have a feeling it would work so well I would sleep through the whole situation, and then I'm in trouble. And that's the honest truth, is right now I'm not in a position in my life to want to knock myself out as hard as I think this might work. Like, I am that confident that this supplement will work so well that I might sleep through this crying baby. And I'm not going to take that risk. So that's my little personal story of why I am not reviewing this. So SteelFit said, well, okay, cool. Well, if we're this confident, blog about it. Let's just have have a little chit chat video talking about the ingredients and stuff, and give some of your family and friends. I got 3 bottles here. Maybe we'll do something at the end of the video here. So anyway, in this video, well, let's just go through the ingredients. We'll talk about each of them and how I like this 3-vector approach. But that's kind of this long story short. Now we can geek out with the big time ingredients, and maybe someday I'll come back to review. But overall, I think it might be best to check out reviews from other people, and let's just talk about the ingredients and why I think this is a really cool supplement. And SteelFit's got some really cool branding going on here. I've been digging their stuff, no doubt, absolutely no doubt. Now, the first ingredient we have here, and this is no stranger to anyone who's been watching our channel lately, this is 300 milligrams of KSM 66 ashwagandha, We've covered it a lot in a lot of supplements recently, and a lot of times it's used because it keeps cortisol levels down. Basically, like every pathway, it kind of comes back down to the cortisol reduction, and that happens because it is an agonist for one of the GABA receptors, which is kind of like the downer neurotransmitter. While it doesn't seem to like really bring a lot of people down for like workout purposes and stuff, it does seem to hit that pathway, and that lowers cortisol, which is great. So this is like, not only is this supplement going to be good for getting some people to sleep, it's going to be good for chilling you out. And there's a few ingredients in here that do that. Now, in terms of sleep though, so we've in the past, we've talked about testosterone enhancement. We've talked about less snacking because there's like less stress eating, there's less anxiety, there's like better fertility. Like ashwagandha is awesome. We have 300 milligrams here, which is it is actually a clinical dose in many of the studies. A lot of the studies also have 600 milligrams of KSM-66, and KSM-66 is the most trusted form of ashwagandha. It's from a company called Exorial Biomed, and so typically it's dosed between 300 and 600 milligrams. Now, I was talking about shredded steel, the fat burner before. That also has 300 milligrams. So if you're doing the shredded steel in the morning, Steel Dream Stack at night, you're going to be getting the full-on efficacious dose of 600 milligrams. So anyway, in terms of sleep though, so I've talked about all these like different things that it does. In terms of sleep, it seems to be, it's actually hit or miss. It's like very successful for some people, and for other people, not much happens. I've never seen, like at these doses, I've never seen any like side effects or anything like that from ashwagandha, and it's always appreciated for the cortisol reduction, especially if you're stressed out. But in terms of the sleep, a lot of the users who did have success, they had less sleep latency and they were able to fall asleep faster, most likely because it was chilling them out. So this is a really good thing to start off the formula, but it doesn't exactly make the sleep formula, but it's a great augmenter, and you can kind of see what SteelFit is doing with this stack here, because they have two products that both have 300 milligrams inside, and together that makes for an excellent 600 milligram combo. We will never say enough good stuff about KSM-66, but in terms of sleep, it's not going to do everything for everyone, but definitely some people are seeing good results. Oh, and the last thing is that on top of the reduced sleep latency, there was also higher sleep quality in that study. But again, not for everyone. So the next ingredient, and I was just talking about some ingredients inside that chill you out a little bit. I was kind of alluding to this one right here. We have a high 200 milligram dose of L-theanine. L-theanine is an amino acid that is found in green tea extract. And it's not like the stimulatory part of green tea extract. It's actually a calming, relaxing agent. A lot of times lately we've been seeing it in pre-workout supplements and nootropic supplements because it's very synergistic with caffeine. But I don't know if you've ever taken it solo, but when I take 200 milligrams solo, to me, it feels like chill surfer bro. This is what I say every time. And I felt like just kind of melting and not caring and melting into the couch. 200 milligrams is the dose where that happened to me, and 200 milligrams is what we have here. However, in terms of sleep, there's not any direct sleep research. And the research shows that it's actually non-sedative. So for the people, there are a lot of people who anecdotally say, this has got to be part of my sleep stack. It might not make you fall asleep. It might not like improve any of those like kind of like numbers as far as we know in research. And you know, maybe that research will come, but a lot of people do report that anecdotally. And for me, it's really just one of those like calm you down supplements. So it's great to do if you've had like just too much of a wiry day, or if you've had too many stimulants throughout the day, you had that cup of coffee or that pre-workout way past like 5 p.m. L-theanine is a great thing to have to kind of calm it down. And there are definitely benefits that be had cognitively. Now, I'm not sure if those will show up the next day with your morning cup of coffee or if they'll wear out by that time, but overall, L-theanine has got tons of different benefits. In terms of the sleep area, though, it's more about relaxation, anti-anxiety, and just, you know, calming down and melting in the couch. So next up, we got to get to falling asleep, and that's where this one comes in. So now we need to throw in the workhorse, and we have 150 milligrams of valerian. This is one of the herbs. So I've just been talking about ashwagandha was the herb, then we went to a single kind of compound ingredient, L-theanine. Now we're back to the herbal world, and valerian is used as a sedative to get people to fall asleep. A lot of the studies, admittedly, do use 300 or 450 milligrams. We have 150 milligrams here, but that still does have some clinical backing to it, in that it is actually a sedative, even during the daytime. But this one's all about sleep quality. The studies usually skew. There's like a little bit of a lower latency in terms of getting to sleep, but when it comes to valerian, it's like all about getting you deeper asleep. And that's why it's so popular and it's so well used. And honestly, like when I see sleep supplements that don't include valerian, I kind of wonder why. Like maybe it's a tough ingredient to source, you know, like with the herbs, there are a lot of challenges. That's why we like KSM 66 ashwagandha. We kind of trust that 5% with analyzed standardization that they have over there. With valerian, there's not like a brand KSM 66 that we can trust all the time, but SteelFit's been doing really well with all their other standardizations, and I have like nothing but confidence that they have a good valerian here. But it's 150 milligrams, so it's not like a crazy, like knock you out forever kind of dose, but we still have a lot of ingredients to go. So I'm really excited about seeing the herbal world mixed with that chemical compound world, mixed with that mineral world. I'll try not to say that too many times throughout this video, but right now we're talking about sleep quality, and a lot of these supplements miss out on that. They're just trying to knock you out and like just knock you down and then let you take care of the rest. That doesn't necessarily work for everyone. Gotta have the quality sleep. You gotta get into the deep wave sleep. After valerian, we have chamomile, and that's dosed at 150 milligrams. This is yet another one of those herbal ingredients that's often used in teas, and it helps to calm everyone down. Not everyone, but most users down. And there are studies showing anti-anxiety, calming effects, but there's one very unique property here, and maybe this might help some of you, maybe not everyone, but there are studies showing that it alleviates a lot of nightmares. So for whatever reason, you have nightmares, and that's an area of science that I don't really know a whole lot about. I don't really have any of those problems or anything, but if that's hitting you, then I highly urge you to start looking into some of the chamomile research, and there might be other herbs as well. But there is a good study showing alleviation of nightmares. And there's another ingredient here. We're going to talk about less night terrors. So Steel Dreams has some cool stuff in here that's actually helping with sleep. Now chamomile, there's one really strong study showing like basically like every sleep improvement possibly occurring, like all these parameters occurring, but it's at 270 milligrams. So I can't fully quote every single thing out there. We don't have that dose, but you're starting to see what's happening here. We're getting a lot of good calming, anti-anxiety, different herbs in here that all have different, like slight different fringe benefits. And so this is like a very full spectrum kitchen sink kind of sleep aid. I really like the idea of the nightmare reduction. Anyone who's like having problems with that, you know, you gotta fix your problems and everything. But at the same time, if you just have no reason to be having them, gotta look into this. The last thing that I want to mention though, and this is a good thing, so a lot of the studies on chamomile are actually done on the tea. And a lot of these sleep aids are liquids, or they're powder sleep aids that you mix into liquids. And then, you know, typically you want to try to drink as little water as possible, because I like to go to the bathroom right before bed and then not have to wake up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. Like typically I'm doing pretty good with that, getting older, but still doing pretty good with that. But when you drink teas, then you're adding a lot of water right before bed, and especially if you like make 2 cups or whatever because you want a strong or whatever. So anyway, the point is I really like these capsule-based products because as someone who can kind of get carried away with the water and everything, it's good to just keep that away and then just have a capsule. There's 3 capsules. One thing I didn't mention though is in the serving size we have 3 capsules, and there's 90 total capsules per bottle. So we have 30 servings, a month's supply if you're using it every night, which hopefully you don't need to. And this bottle is like pretty heavy for being a small standard size bottle. Anyway, so yeah, I when it comes to the sleep aids, like to me the capsules just make more sense. You could have a small sip, take down the 3 capsules and be done with it. And that's one of the reasons why I like chamomile in a pill form factor instead of a tea. All right, after chamomile comes what I believe is possibly the most underrated sleep supplement out there that not enough people talk about, and that's lemon balm, also known as Melissa officinalis. Now what's really cool about this, and then so I mentioned earlier that valerian, like I wonder why don't some of these supplements contain valerian? Maybe it's hard to source, I don't know. Well, the best study on this, on lemon balm, is actually with valerian, and they seem to be very synergistic. Once again, this improves the ability to calm down, it's anti-anxiety, but falling asleep faster. And that's what we want here. With valerian, 2 ingredients that we have in here, we have synergy, and valerian and lemon balm help users fall asleep faster. And this, we'll show some charts up here because we have a couple things, like many sleep parameters get improved with this one, but it's best with valerian. And thankfully we have both of those in here, and that's what I'm really excited about. So Steel Dreams is not just like hitting you with a couple ingredients. We have a lot of stuff and a lot more to go. Melissa officinalis, this is actually one where if you look at the single ingredient products out there, there's a lot of reviews that are just good on just Melissa leaves alone. So some people just like, this is all they need. But obviously this supplement is kind of catered to people who need a little bit more. And we're definitely getting that, especially when the valerian lemon balm combo is really what seems to be worth it where it's at. But some people just love this one all on its own. So if you haven't tried this one, then this is definitely one to give it a go, because this ingredient, the times I've taken it, it knocked me the F out. That's all I'm gonna say. Now next is one of the most interesting inclusions I've ever seen in a sleep supplement. And I'm talking about 100 milligrams of rutacarpine. This is something that we see in a lot of fat burners because it's a Chinese thermogenic herb. This ingredient kind of heats you up a little bit, which isn't surprising seeing it come from SteelFit, because they are a thermogenic diet kind of company. They have all sorts of various fat burning gels and creams, and then I've mentioned the shredded steel supplement a few times. So this is an ingredient that's often included in fat burners or in thermogenics, sometimes in pre-workout, like fat burning kind of pre-workouts, but I've never seen it in a sleep supplement. Now, probably should have asked SteelFit what exactly they're thinking, because I don't think they're going for weight loss, and we found a research study, and this is like wild stuff. It turns out that this ingredient can clear your body out of caffeine and help your body metabolize caffeine way faster. Now, a lot of times we like to make our caffeine last longer because we don't want to have the up and down and all that. But in this case, like I mentioned earlier, if you took your pre-workout a little bit too late, you gotta still have caffeine floating around, because caffeine's, there's a half-life of caffeine, what is it, like 4.5 hours or so, but that means you've only eliminated half of it. You still have a lot of caffeine left in your body, and it takes time to clear that out. So the interesting tidbit is that this will help you metabolize the caffeine faster. I don't know the exact mechanism, but I honestly, we should look into this a little bit more, because it's kind of fascinating. It's the anti-effect of what we normally want during the day. It's the exact effect of what you might want right now, though. So if you got too much caffeine circulating, take a look at this research on rutacarpine, take a look at our blog post, we cite the study there, and maybe like the caffeine is hitting you a little bit longer than you think, or maybe you think it's worn out, you only took little energy stuff at like 2 p.m. or whatever, but it's got a longer half-life in your body for whatever reason. Maybe this will knock it out. I don't know. I think it's a very interesting, unique inclusion I've never seen in a sleep supplement. So next up, we are back to the single molecule style, single compound ingredients, and I'm talking about 100 milligrams of 5-HTP, which I think is a really fascinating ingredient. So 5-HTP is created when you eat any type of food with tryptophan in it. So basically, tryptophan is one of the 9 essential amino acids, meaning you have to get it in through your diet or through supplementation, and it's typically found in a lot of meats. Turns out, we hear about turkey and stuff on Thanksgiving. Turkey isn't even the highest with tryptophan, but a lot of meats have a lot of tryptophan. People who aren't eating enough meat in general are possibly low on tryptophan, and tryptophan is so useful for various purposes. But what we're thinking about right here, though, is the fact that it converts to 5-hydroxytryptophan, or 5-HTP, and then that gets converted to serotonin, which is the happy hormone. And then at the right time, given darkness and circadian rhythm and everything, serotonin gets converted to melatonin. And a lot of people who are short on essential amino acids, they're not eating enough meat, they get anxious, they have trouble sleeping, and I think tryptophan is one of the things they're missing. Now, we're not supplementing tryptophan here. You could do that as well if you want. Obviously, I just recommend eating food. But anyway, turns out that we can kind of hack the process and skip some of that, or add a little bit more down the path and push it further to where we want it to go, which is serotonin and melatonin. And that's by taking 5-HTP. Now, remember earlier in this video, I mentioned night terrors. We were talking about nightmare reduction before. Well, this ingredient at 200 milligrams has a crazy study where they reduced night terrors. I have a feeling that it has to do with the anxiety effects of not having enough of the tryptophan, 5-HTP, serotonin line. But however it may happen, 200 milligrams of this, which is not what we have. We have 100 milligrams. But 200 milligrams reduced night terrors. So there's like some crazy awesome stuff that's adding a lot of auxiliary benefits here. But again, not the clinical dose of the night terrors, but is definitely a beneficial serotonin and melatonin producer, basically at any dose. And just because we're not at clinical dose for night terrors doesn't mean you might not get some effects. So if you're having some like just bad nights and hot sweats and all that bad stuff happening, well, first off, yeah, obviously you might want to eat a little bit earlier, but keep your amino acids high, of course. But on top of that, try to look into 5-HTP. Maybe it's gonna, give you a little bit of a mood kick, and then it's gonna once the sun goes down, it gets dark, and you turn off all them lights and all that stuff. You're going to get some nice melatonin production, and this is going to help you make more, and that could be what's missing all on its own. All right, we're not done with the herbs yet. This is an herb-heavy supplement. We now have 100 milligrams of passion flower. Passion flower, I think, is going to be synergistic with ashwagandha because it's targeting the GABA receptor, but it's hitting both the GABA A and GABA B. So it might even work a little bit better than ashwagandha for these purposes. Now, there's also some studies performed on sleep, and they're talking about being anxiolytic. Let me just read what they wrote here. The study calls it an herbal sedative, anxiolytic, and a popular sleep aid used for the treatment of sleep disturbance. So if you're rolling around and you're having problems sleeping, passion flower seems to be one of those things that'll keep the disturbances down. Now, one of the things that I want to get are one of those rings where it tracks your sleep and it tracks your waves and everything. And you can really start to see what happens if you have like a cocktail before bed, or if you eat too late, or if you're watching TV, you're most likely gonna have more disturbed sleep. Now, everyone's a little bit different, but there are certain tools out there. If you can't figure it out and these pills aren't working, you might as well check that out. So anyway, just hearing about sleep disturbances made me think of that. And that stuff costs money, but dude, you know what costs a lot more money is not getting any sleep. Been there. And finally, on passion flower, I haven't really talked about a whole lot of rat research or anything, but they were able to make mice fall asleep faster with this one as well. So there's definitely a whole lot of cool research here. And like as far as like our blog post, I think I'm on like citation 32 at this point. So we are like covering a lot of it here. So what I loved about SteelFit Shredded Steel, on top of the epic energy I get out of the small amount of caffeine, is the fact that SteelFit is trying to bring a new ingredient into a lot of these supplements. These guys have been in the industry for a while. The brand is relatively new, but they've been in the industry for a while. They've made some great connections. And in that Shredded Steel supplement, they brought in alluvia, a purple tea extract, which seemed to have some pretty cool research. And here we get Venetron. What a cool name. I mean, say that again. 50 milligrams of
Venetron.
And so this is a patented form of, let me just try to pronounce it properly, Apocynum venetum. And this is a plant that's meant to compete with those St. John's wort supplements. Now, those supplements are often used as like euphoric kind of mood enhancers. And we honestly don't see them a whole lot in the sports nutrition side of things. I don't see them a whole lot in a lot of different sleep supplements. What they're doing here though, is that, and the reason is because they need to avoid the CYP3A pathway. And that's what this does differently than St. John's wort, which I think is going to give you some of those good feeling type of benefits without like being stimulatory in any capacity, so you can go to sleep. And so the study that we've seen cited here was at 50 milligrams. That's how much we have here. And it's once again targeting the GABA receptor. So Steel Dream seems to be hitting the GABA receptor. We have 3 things that are hitting it so far, which is really good. And that could be a good way of kind of avoiding if you want to be, you could also supplement GABA, but then you need like, 1 to 3 grams, like a pretty good dose. That doesn't make as much sense in a capsule form. Instead, we could target the receptor with some of these smaller doses. And so we do have one study showing 50 milligrams being effective here. Obviously, it's a new ingredient. It's a new herb, 1,000 blog posts on PricePlow. We've never ever seen it before, so I love to see new stuff here, and that's what's great about what SteelFit's doing. But yeah, we might need to dig a little bit deeper on this one if people are interested. But anyway, the name is cool enough as it is, Venetron. And finally, actually not finally, we are not at last but not least area because we still got the mineral. We'll quickly get into that. But before that, we are back to the single compound style ingredients. And I'm talking about, well, we've already brought it up a little bit. I'm talking about melatonin. Melatonin is a sleep enhancer, and you can find melatonin pills from all kinds of doses, from like 0.5 milligrams to like 300 milligrams. And so typically the standard dose is 3 milligrams we usually see, but there's been safety shown in very high doses. For some people, it works well at low doses. This is a 1 milligram dose, which I think is really smart because, you could always add a little bit more, but some people don't like to have too much. And so melatonin is a hormone, and it's a hormone that gets produced when it's nighttime and it's dark out and you got all the lights off, and then all that serotonin that we've built up, because hopefully we're eating properly and hopefully we're happy enough and all that stuff, the serotonin gets converted into melatonin, and that's one of the circadian triggers to get you to sleep. Now there's some really cool biohacks you can do with melatonin as well, such as when you land off of a plane, you can use this to actually prevent jet lag if you're going over international flights and everything. But we don't need to get that into the here. As far as I'm concerned, melatonin seems to be very hit or miss supplementally. I think it's why not include it, especially if it's just 1 milligram. No one's really, to me, no one I don't think I've ever talked to has ever complained about 1 milligram. And that actually is all that some people need. They just need a little bit more pinch of melatonin. Now, in those cases, I do recommend that you look into, are you eating enough meat that has tryptophan in it? Because I think that you might be losing something down that pathway. Maybe the 5-HTP alone would also help, but the 5-HTP melatonin combo will help you just, you might as well throw everything at the problem. As you can see, we're doing the kitchen sink here, and you can't have the kitchen sink of sleep supplements without a little bit of melatonin to get you in the right circadian state. And finally, and last but not least, and possibly definitely not least at all, this might even be the most important thing if you're not getting enough, 24% RDA of magnesium. This, I think, is a great inclusion, and it also comes along, oftentimes you see magnesium and calcium supplements together. We also have 15 milligrams of calcium here. I'm not really sure of any calcium research, so let's just focus on the magnesium. So many of our diets are deficient in magnesium. A lot of the high magnesium foods we just don't want to eat or just don't get enough of, and when that happens, there's all kinds of sleep problems, there's a lot of anxiety, and things just get ungrounded. Magnesium's a very, very important mineral, and I can't say enough good things about it. But the issue is, you might be wondering, oh, it's only 24%. Why not throw 100%? Well, first off, that takes up a ton of room, and we already have 3 capsules jam-packed with lots of stuff. But second, if you take too much magnesium, might be sending you to the bathroom. So magnesium is can be used as a stool softener for some people if you take higher doses, but in this case, I think it's perfect, a little bit of a touch-up add-on. No one's gonna probably have problems with 24% unless you are already dosing way, tons of other magnesium, in which case you might need to drop the other magnesium because you can't remove the magnesium from these pills. But 24% is a perfect add-on to your day to get you over the hump because the majority of Americans are actually magnesium deficient, and honestly, I think that's an underrated problem that we have here. So there's a lot of ZMA supplements out here, and that's actually what we have in here. The ZMA is over 100%, the official ZMA formulation. But anyway, the ZMA, they're using magnesium aspartate, and that's the form we have here. So it's a very bioavailable form of magnesium that's going to get your magnesium stores up a little bit higher and hopefully alleviate some of the anxiety that might be causing you to not be able to fall asleep. You had no clue. Obviously, the easiest thing to do, it's not the easiest thing, but the best thing to do is to track your macros. Make sure you're using a good food logger that actually keeps score of the magnesium, and see how much magnesium you're really getting. Are you not getting enough of that spinach or all the foods that have good sources of magnesium? And if so, you might even need to supplement more. And so there's all kinds of different magnesium supplements. There's powders and pills and good stuff, magnesium citrate. I like magnesium aspartate in the pills. And I like that they have about 24% here so that you're not going to get blown away, if you know what I mean. But this is a perfect way to finish because we got to have the mineral finish. Literally, all the other ingredients might not do you nothing if you are completely magnesium depleted. I mean, maybe they'll feel good and they might calm you down, but you still might just have the jitters or I don't know, being magnesium deficient just generally sucks, and a lot of people are deficient. So make sure your numbers are good because 24% may honestly not be enough, but I think it's the perfect dose to add to a supplement when we really don't know anything about your diet outside of anything really. So 24%, just a final way to finish off. Overall, you can tell that I'm excited about a supplement. I'm excited about a supplement that I won't use. That's kind of funny, but I will probably be keeping one of these 3 bottles, and I will eventually be using it. It's just not that time in my life right now to be using it. I love all the herbs, but you gotta have stuff like the melatonins and that 5-HTPs and L-theanine. No one wants to use 200 milligrams of L-theanine because there's no like direct sleep research. Fact of the matter is that L-theanine is expensive. SteelFit's doing some cool stuff. They have a new ingredient here in Venetron, so if nothing else worked for you, well, hey, maybe you want to give this a shot too. Big fan of the company, big fan of the formulations. Yeah, not every single thing is efficaciously dosed, but dude, I just like threw like 12 ingredients at you. Like hopefully something's gonna work here. The gap might be as simple as like not getting enough melatonin production, and the 5-HTP melatonin combo is gonna get you there. Maybe you're just too anxious. Maybe you got caffeine floating around that rutacarpine is gonna help you out, which is also another unique thing. Or maybe you just need to pound your GABA receptors, and we're gonna do that here as well. Maybe you just need to dash more magnesium. Either way, like this is hitting like so many different angles that I can't imagine it not feeling good. And maybe someday I'll come back and report a real review for you. So please subscribe to the channel and check out the blog post where we have lots of studies cited, and we'll talk about this. And I would like to dig deeper into the Venetron if nothing else. My name is Mike Roberto. Please subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below. And oh yeah, but you know what? You want this bottle? I got 3 bottles. If you're in the US, I'm thinking of a methodology of sleep hygiene. What is one thing that's great to do before bed that a lot of people aren't doing that I believe will help you with your sleep? And I'm gonna be kind of specific on this. If you can answer that in the comments below, give me a good sleep hygiene tip, and you're in the US, this bottle, sealed and all, is all yours. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you on the next one.
Welcome to PricePlow.